Hello and welcome back to another video on the Product Pup. On this channel, we talk about all things tech, startups, product, business, ideas, and today I'm going to be talking all about product roadmaps. The inspiration behind this video was one, someone on my TikTok requested it, so thank you. And two, we're approaching the start of a new year. So what better time than the start of a new year to get set on the direction for our products. So as with my previous video, I'm actually going to show you a template for a product roadmap that I use. So I'm gonna do a quick spiel on what a roadmap is and why we need them, but then I'm gonna share my screen and walk you through slide by slide. Got my laptop here. Yeah, a template that I have, and I hope that this will be useful. The template will be available on my website by the time this video is up, so you can check that out. It's free to download, and let's just jump right into it. What is a product roadmap? In my words, it's really laying out the direction for a product for the foreseeable future. Let's look to Google for a much better explanation. So product roadmap is a high-level visual that maps out the evolution of your product over time. This is very true. Atlassian. A product roadmap is a shared source of truth that outlines the vision, direction, priorities, and progress of a product over time. Now, typically, a roadmap will be informed by your company's greater objectives and strategic initiatives. And whatever the company's initiatives are, each product area should be doing things that will help to bring those initiatives to reality. You should really be advocating for what you think the product needs to do. What should inform your product roadmap? Three things. One, I've already mentioned, is companies' strategic initiatives. Okay, that's the top level stuff. That really is what you want to try and help to push forward. Number two is customers. Your roadmap should be heavily influenced by what your customers want. Number three is engineering roadmap items as well as tech debt. Each company and each team will have a different split between how much engineering work is done versus how much product work is done. I think on average it's about 30%. Things that help to improve the performance of the product, the stability and reliability of the product. So as a product manager, you should always be in close collaboration and communication with your team's technical lead to understand what their engineering priorities are so that you can feed them into the roadmap and plan for them accordingly. Now, with all that being said, I'm going to jump into sharing my screen and walk you through this roadmap template. So before I start, ignore the presentation of this. This is not something that I have tried to make look very pretty or look very fancy. You will have to customize this to your company's branding or whatever look and feel that you want. So first and foremost, of course, we will have the title slide. Keeping it simple, you may want to put an image of your product and put the period of time for which this roadmap applies. Sometimes I'll call it a 9-month roadmap. In this case, I just called it 2021. And you may also want to put the name of your product area or your particular product as well. So secondly, I have a 2020 recap, or in other words, a slide which recaps what happened in the previous year or the previous relevant period of time. I think it's really important to do this because it gives context to the reader if they want to have that context. You may be presenting this to someone who is new to the company or who doesn't understand your product, who is new to the product area. So you want to make sure that before you dive into all the future things you're going to be doing, that they have some ideas about where your product is at today and what you have worked on that might be significant or noteworthy in the previous year. So again, present this however you like. It might be bullet points. It might be a GIF of some releases you have done. It might be a combination of the two. It might be a screen recording showing a demo. It might be statistics that show customer adoption for a particular product feature. Number three, this is what I've mentioned earlier, which is the strategic priorities. Again, this is for context. If your company has priorities or initiatives, whatever your company's high-level objectives are, it would be good to outline those at the start of this roadmap slide, because at any point in time, someone can come back to the slide and realize why you're working on certain things. So again, fill this in how you like. My company does communicate those initiatives really clearly and succinctly, so I would probably just copy and paste them in. I would copy and paste in the ones that were relevant to my product area. So next I have the timeline. Actually, there are two options here. One is a detailed one and the second is very simple. But this is a visual way to show how work is going to be sequenced throughout the year. Now, it's up to you what you want to put in this timeline. You could put in product releases, which is really what milestones are. So for example, release a beta version of XYZ at the start of March, or launch campaign in mid-April. You could actually put in when the team will be starting to commence actual work. So commence development for XYZ in mid-January. It's up to you how you want to break this down, what makes sense for your company, who the audience of this will be. And this is another take on it. So call out 3 to 4 key things that are happening over the period of 6 months. Now, why have I only mentioned January to June and then I've got Q3? Well, as we know, in today's world, it's very hard to know what's going to happen in the next few months, let alone the next 6 to 9 months. In my experience, the main focus of any particular planning period in the product world is 3 months. You want to know what's going to happen in 3 months, maybe 6. Anything beyond that, it's really hard to plan for. It's likely going to change. It's really good to think about it and plan as much as you can, but at the end of the day, you'll have to be super adaptable and flexible. Right, and now we're on to the actual roadmap. So this is the exciting stuff. Now, what I have here is a single slide with Q1, Q2, Q3. And each quarter is broken up into 2 things. One is the customer value, and second is the actual deliverable. The difference between these two is this. The key deliverables is what you are actually shipping, what the team is actually going to be working on, what you will be building, what is a specific feature, what is the specific reliability and stability engineering task that you want to do. So this might be something like commence development for XYZ. It might be to launch XYZ. It might be to continue development of ABC, okay? Meanwhile, the customer value is the value proposition that each of the deliverables will have for your customers. So not everything that you work on is going to have face customer value. Like we talked about before, the engineering roadmap items are extremely valuable, but they're not something that customers will really realize that they're valuing from. So what is the real customer value? Really, like, what is the value proposition of these deliverables? What will these deliverables allow customers to do that they cannot do today? Okay. And then you'll also notice I have focus at the top. So this is optional, but I like to have personally a focus for each quarter. I think at any point in time, a product team is working on so much stuff. There's the existing product, there's feature work for that product, there is maintenance for that product, there is engineering work, there is reliability and stability and tech debt and bug fixes, some technical estimations and design for future work. There is just so much going on between the present and the future. It's really hard for me to give an example because it really just depends on what you do, your company, your product, your industry, your everything. But it's really nice to have a focus for the quarter. So one thing that you can focus on doing extremely well, and if you do that, you have been successful that quarter. Okay, now we're getting down to the details. I hope you see what I'm doing here, which I maybe should have explained at the start. We started at the high level. That was companies' strategic initiatives. It was what we did last year. We came down to a timeline of the next 6 to 9 months. Then we came down to the individual items in that 6 to 9 month roadmap. And now we're down to what you will see is the details for each specific thing we are working on in the next 3 months. So let me jump into this now. So next I have the detailed roadmap. Now for the detailed roadmap, I really focus on the next 3 months, and anything beyond that is a little bit more vague. So the way I like to do this is for each roadmap item. Okay, so when I say roadmap item, if I just go back, I'm talking about each of the deliverables that I will have, or each of these roadmap items here. I'm going to break down each of those roadmap items, and I might be breaking these down into features, or if this is already a feature in itself, then, you know, break it down in a different way. But the point is that I should be able to explain in this one slide with perhaps a visual what this particular thing is. Well, if you have some design mock-ups, if you have a GIF from a prototype or something, then put that in, because I find that anything that can be visualized is a lot easier to convey. So I have a couple of, oh, hello. Hi. You're gonna help us put together a roadmap? Is it so interesting that you'll be listening? What do you think of the roadmap template? Do you think it's gonna be useful? I have 2 bonus slides, which are the 9-month roadmap, and the other one is the detailed version. Slightly different to the template that I have, but it will give you an idea. This is something I put together once for a PM interview, and you know, this was based off very limited information that I have. It was time boxed, so yeah, it's just an example. And same with this, just an example. Now, I went through that pretty quickly. I'll be the first to say that product roadmaps take a lot of thinking, a lot of time and effort. So I hope the value of this for you watching is that I've taken away some of the work required to put together the presentation, the structure, the flow, the layout, those kind of things, because they can also take a bit of time. And you can really just focus on the content. You know your product best, and focus on that. Focus on the strategic stuff. Collaborate with engineering as much as you can. They are going to help you figure out how long certain things will take, so that you know where to allocate items. You know if something should go in Q1 versus Q2. So my approach to this: include them and involve them in the planning process. Product roadmaps are indicative of the direction that you're going in, but they're not necessarily a hard commitment. Your roadmap should be in the back of your mind constantly. It should be something that you work to keep refreshed, like on a monthly basis. Well, the sun is setting, as you can see, so this is my cue to end this video. Please leave any questions that you have down below. Remember that this template will be available on my website to download. The template that I have is made in Google Slides. It is by no means the tool that you must use. Use any tool that you are comfortable with or that you like. I prefer Google Slides. I'm the big Google tool fan. It's simple, it's easy to use, you can collaborate with other people, and my company uses it. Final plug of the day is that if you are on TikTok, then follow our TikTok account. It is called The Product Pup. We post videos on there daily, all about tech, business, startups, and product. Thank you so much for watching. Happy New Year, happy holidays, stay safe, and we will see you in our next video. Bye.